Good evening, everyone. I'll call to order the Arvada City Council meeting for July 2nd, 2018. Call upon Councilmember Dot Miller.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please join me in a moment of silent reflection? And if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kristen Rush, if you want to do the roll call.
Mayor Williams?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Marriott?
Here.
Councilmember Pfeiffer?
Here.
Councilmember Ford?
Here.
Councilmember Jones?
Here.
Councilmember McGough?
Here.
Councilmember Miller?
Here.
Okay, all present and accounted for. We have the approval of the minutes of the June 18th City Council meeting. Any changes or corrections? Seeing none, they will stand approved as presented. What Kristen was trying to do is get me the sign-up sheets of folks when I called on her. So she did a very good turnaround.
Pirouette.
And I'll start with Sharon Davis.
Good evening. How are you this evening?
Excellent.
I am here representing the Arvada Park Advisory Committee. We would like to thank Councilwoman Ford for attending our June meeting. We had a great time, and she stayed very late with those of us who had a lot of questions and comments, and we certainly appreciated that, and so thank you again for attending. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thank you.
Good. And then Peter, is it Kazura?
It is. Mayor Williams and City Council, thanks for having us. My name is Peter Kazura. I'm a member of the Arvada Festivals Commission, and I'm here to cordially and formally invite you to our next Beer and Barbecue Fest, which is very easy for me to do in a very high-pressured room. On July 21st, we'll be holding Arvada Untapped. It's the Beer and Barbecue Fest that's held at Arvada West, same place as Sand in the City. This year, we'll be having a all-you-can sample cup. Well, $35 will get you in. We have 25 Colorado breweries that'll be there. We also have an unlimited kids zone as well, so a family-friendly event. I want to also just say thank you to all of the Arvada Festivals Commission that you guys help us put on all those festivals throughout the year. So thank you guys so much, and thank you for all of the time you've given us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Does anybody else wish to address City Council at this time? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion and move on to some new business. We have a couple items on the consent agenda. The first is R18063, which is a resolution authorizing an agreement by and between the City of Arvada and Bates Engineering for the Sleeping Indian water storage tank design in an amount not to exceed approximately $169,000. Second item on the consent agenda is R18064, which is a resolution authorizing a First Amendment to an agreement between Arvada and Brothers Redevelopment to expand the scope of work and increase the contract amount from $75,000 to $175,000 per year for safe and accessible home improvements. Do I have a motion to approve those two consent agenda items? Mr. Pfeiffer.
I move to approve consent agenda items. Give me a second, I'm moving screens. Resolution 18-063 and Resolution 18-064 for approval.
Motions to approve those two consent agenda items. All votes are cast. That passes 7-0. Thank you. Next we have one resolution, R18065, which is a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between Jefferson County, Colorado, Jefferson Center Metropolitan District, and the City of Arvada for the maintenance and repair of Indiana Street from Candelas Boulevard to 96th Avenue and a culvert installed beneath Indiana Street, serving Big Dry Creek and the Big Dry Creek Trail. Mr. Devon.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is a agreement that will facilitate the installation and the maintenance of a culvert at Indiana Street to service the trail that's designated in our Parks, Trails, and Open Space Master Plan. The actual construction cost for the culvert is to be borne by the Jefferson Center Metropolitan District. The ongoing maintenance will be covered by the City of Arvada. We estimate the maintenance at about $3,000 to $5,000 annually, which we have included in our Public Works maintenance budget. And this will help facilitate improved trail access for the residents of actually the entire community, but specifically that area. And we certainly recommend approval of the resolution as presented.
Okay, council questions or action? Mr. Fiver.
I have a quick question on that. Is that there will be a trail. This is also a trail through there too, as well as a culvert? I remember there was some discussion around it. I just want to link the projects.
Yeah, Mr. Pfeiffer, there'd be a trail through there. The culvert, they just finished it a couple months ago, but there will be a trail through there, and this will be a drainage and a trail culvert.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. McGough.
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Manwaring also. So the culvert is constructed, and so it will provide access under Indiana. Is it like a dual underpass so that it carries water separately from the trail?
Yeah,
like under Leiden Road?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's designed so the water doesn't cross the trail, but the trail will be offset from the water passageway. I mean, in higher flows, it will top the trail, but during the normal flows, the trail will be out of the water.
Okay. So someday soon we'll have the trail connection, right?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
And is this part of the Greenway Trail, or is this going to be separate to that access?
I think it's separate, Mr.
Yeah, this would be separate from the Greenway. The Greenway actually goes up north enough so that it goes through the Stanley Lake Nature Center.
Okay.
And then beyond north from there.
Very
I think
good.
this is just part of the Candelas Trail system.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Big Dry Creek. Good.
Okay, any other questions from council? Mr. McGough.
Well, I'd be very, very happy to make the motion.
You may proceed.
Looking for the wording on that. Here we go. I move that R 18-065, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between Jefferson County, Colorado, the Jefferson Center Metropolitan District, and the City of Arvada for the maintenance and repair of Indiana Street from Candelas Boulevard to 96th Avenue, and a culvert installed beneath Indiana Street serving Big Dry Creek and the Big Dry Creek Trail be approved.
Motions for approval? All votes are cast. That passes 7-0. Thank you. Next, we have ordinances on first reading. Mr. Marriott.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move that Council Bill 18-028, an ordinance authorizing an intergovernmental agreement among the City of Arvada, Town of Bomar, City of Edgewater, City of Golden, City of Lakewood, City of Littleton, Town of Morrison, Town of Superior, City of Westminster, City of Wheat Ridge, and Jefferson County for a Jefferson County Collaborative Transportation Forum agreement to establish the Jefferson County Collaborative Transportation Forum, a formal committee of the Denver Regional Council of Governments, Dr. Cog, and move that Council Bill 18-029, an ordinance annexing certain land into the City of Arvada, White Annexation Number 2, 7519 Sim Street, and I move that Council Bill 18-030, an ordinance rezoning certain land within the City of Arvada, White, from Jefferson County A2 Agriculture to RL Residential Low Density, and amending the official zoning maps of the City of Arvada, Colorado, 7519 Sim Street, as well as Council Bill 18-031, an ordinance rezoning certain land within the City of Arvada, Legacy Senior Residences, from City of Arvada RL Residential Low Density and B2 General Business to PUD BPR Planned Unit Development Business Professional Residential, and amending the official zoning maps of the City of Arvada, Colorado, generally located southwest of West 64th Avenue and Sheridan Boulevard, and comprised of 5430 West 64th Avenue and a vacant parcel. And lastly, I move that Council Bill 18-032, an ordinance approving the First Amendment, the City of Arvada Police Money Purchase Retirement Plan regarding contributions, all be approved on first reading, ordered published in full, and public hearings set for July 16, 2018 at 6:30 p.m.
Motions for approval on first reading. All votes are cast. Passes 7-0. Thank you. Next, we have a discussion on the Ralston Ridge Metropolitan District Service Plan. I think we're taking action tonight to open and Rachel, you want to tell us what we're doing?
Tonight, we're just giving notice of the public hearing to be held on July 16th at 6:30.
And we don't need to take any action tonight.
We do not.
Very good. Okay, we're being way too efficient tonight. We've got to kill 16 minutes and 23 seconds before we can go into our public hearings. I'm going to leave the public comment portion till the end of the meeting. I'll go to reports from council members. Anybody got anything? Mr. Marriott?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to report I attended the Colorado Municipal League conference a couple weeks ago. It was a real good conference, had a number of really interesting educational opportunities. Two of the ones that I attended that really stuck out to me were, one, the future of transportation, which was all kinds of futuristic stuff that Mr. Pfeiffer deals with in his daily life. But what was striking to me was how quickly these things are coming towards us. You know, it seems like for me, I've just gotten used to Uber and Lyft, and we're about to see dramatic changes even from that. So that was very, very interesting, and a lot of things to think about with how it affects us or interacts with our city. The other one that was really interesting was on the Thursday of the conference was the day the Supreme Court decided on the South Dakota versus Wayfair case, which has the effect of overturning the South Dakota versus Quill decision. Basically allows states to require that companies who do business within that state collect and remit sales tax. And so this kind of starts the process of having states be allowed to require the remittance of internet sales taxes, and of course has large implications for not only states but certainly municipalities, since we deal so much of our funding comes from sales tax. So it was a real interesting session, and I want to thank the Colorado Municipal League for putting on both that conference as well as some really good educational opportunities, things that would be hard to get otherwise.
Good. Any other council reports? Mr. Pfeiffer?
Well, I actually do have something to report. It's more personal than anything. So my 85-year-old grandmother has come into town, and I don't get to see her that often, so I had my cousin drive her here. They weren't sure if they could make it tonight, but I know she's watching from home, so I just wanted to give a shout out to my grandmother who's watching.
Hi, Grandma.
She gets excited, so thank you. That's
Good.
all I have.
Very good. Anything else? Ms. Miller?
Thank you. So Talkin' Rock is coming up on July 14th. So every month we do a hangout with your favorite council member. No, just kidding. So hang out with me for an hour at 3 o'clock at Klein's in Old Town, and then my husband's band plays from 4 to 7. It's fun. We always have some residents that have been here for a long time, but every time we have people that just moved into the city and learned about Talkin' Rock and want to hear what's going on in the city. So I encourage everybody to come down.
Great. Anybody else? Mr. Devon, can you fill a few minutes?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, always like to inform you of our future workshops. Next Monday, we will be discussing again the bond reauthorization and capital projects. That information will actually start at 4 p.m. So we would anticipate about a 4 to 5:30-ish discussion time frame, and then we'll break for 30 minutes come back at 6 o'clock. Our colleagues from Denver Water will be here, and they will give us an update on a number of projects that we're working on together. Most significantly, the Moffett Water System expansion, the Gross Reservoir project, but also some of the work that's being done in the far western end of our city, including the replacement of the Conduit 16 line from Ralston Reservoir to 20th Avenue and Miller Street, where it will come through portions of our community out west. Jim Sullivan's been working with Denver Water on putting that presentation together. And then the last item we'll discuss on July 9th is communication and citizen engagement update. Our staff has been working very closely on with a number of resources in our neighborhood engagement program on improving our neighborhood engagement efforts, really getting more involvement and collecting information for the next update of our strategic plan, and an ongoing process to stay in touch with our neighborhoods and with our citizens. And this is something I know that's very important to members of the City Council. So we'll be providing that information. Also, we'll discuss a telephone town hall we're planning for, I think it's August the 9th, in this coming August. So that takes us through the July 9th workshops, and then on July the 23rd, we will give you an update on the Hometown Colorado Initiatives projects. We'll talk about the fall 2017 and spring 2018 projects, and then lastly, a strategy to address sidewalk and trail gaps that our staff, primarily from Public Works and Parks, have been working on. That'll be the second presentation on July the 23rd. I might also add that beginning next week, we'll be having internal budget meetings for our next two-year budget, 2019 and 2020, and then the update of our 10-year financial plan. And we'll be presenting information to council later in August regarding our expenditure plan, and look forward to your feedback as we present that information.
Very good. Did you wish to make any announcement in terms of a recent hire, or would you like to?
I would, and I believe
He left.
where'd he go?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what happens for department heads when there are items on the consent calendar and it gets approved, they generally leave right away. But I am pleased to announce that we have made a decision regarding the appointment of our next chief of police, and that gentleman is Deputy Chief Link Strait. This has been one of the most challenging and difficult decisions I've ever had to make regarding a hiring decision, because we had two excellent internal candidates, Interim Chief Ed Brady and Deputy Chief Link Strait. They met last week with panels, interview panels, and the process to go through the determining the best fit and the best selection. They're incredibly close. They're very, very, very both very, very excellent candidates. And after 4 panels and industrial psychologist report and all the other things that we decided to do to help us understand and look at each candidate the best way we could, and after reflective time over the weekend, I made the decision to appoint Link this morning and announce that to the organization and to the community. So we're very pleased to have Link on board, and we know that he will carry on the great tradition and build on the excellent foundation of the Arvada Police Department. And thank you to the City Council for your support through this period of time. And I might want to say also thank you to Ed Brady for leading the police department during this interim period for about 6 months.
Do you know when Link will be sworn in? Or
we haven't set that date yet, but it'll be very soon.
Very good. Yeah, I know it was a difficult choice for you to make. You had two. Well, first of all, you did a nationwide search, which I think was totally appropriate, just to see who else is out there and what else is out there. And frankly, for me, to see the two best candidates come in our own ranks, I think is a validation of what a great police department we have. You couldn't have made a mistake with either one of these two gentlemen, so that takes a little bit of the pressure off. Both are excellent, have been excellent deputies for us. Both have served in this community for many, many years, and we wish new Chief Strait every success, and he's following some excellent chiefs that we've had over the years, and will lead, I think, the finest police department in the entire metropolitan area. So congratulations on your decision. Glad you get to make it instead of us making it, because I think that's a much better process. We'll leave it to the professionals. And I'm glad you got the input you got from a number of sources, and I think you've made an excellent decision. Okay, we still have another 7 minutes. If anybody, anything from the legal?
No, Your Honor, we don't have anything to report for the I wish I could help you take up some time here, but we don't have anything to fill the
Well, we got
gap.
these crazy rules that we can't start our public hearings before 6:30.
Understood.
We did receive a litigation report from you today, and from your office, and we thank you for that, and appreciate the format and the information contained therein.
Well, thank you.
Good. Mr. McGough, you going to help me out here?
I'll help you just a little bit. I think everyone on the council is aware that, in effect, the city entered into a cooperative arrangement with the Arvada Historical Society for the publication of an updated history book. There are 4 prior history books that came from the Historical Society. This one will cover the years from 1976 to 2006. And has a few comments about time more current than 2006. But the book is nearly finished. The author is Kimberly Fields, who wrote the Centennial Book for Westminster, and has written a history of the Denver Mint, and has been involved in lots of other writing projects. She's used a committee of people from the Historical Society, many people from the community, current and past city council members, and others who have been involved with things like the Chamber of Commerce and the Urban Renewal Authority. And the book has gone to the printer, and I think all the photos have been selected, and it is at the printer. So we will have a new history book probably about November by the time, so just in time for Christmas Christmas gifts, etc. The timing is not just accidental, but kind of pushing toward that. But I think people will be very happy with the book, and have documented in one place the history of the last 40 years. And it's been a very, very difficult task for a lot of people, but Kim is not only a good author, but she's a good manager in being able to receive information from a variety of sources and to make it understandable. So the city entered into the partnership in the sense of putting forward the money for paying the author and for the publication of the book, and the city will be reimbursed for all those costs in very much the same way it was done in 2004 when we had the Centennial Book written. The city put forward the dollars to get the book printed, and the city was reimbursed from the sale of the books. That will happen now. So it's been a good cooperative agreement between the city and the Arvada Historical Society. And I think we should be grateful to both our city staff, who have been supportive, and to the Historical Society board members too. It's going to be a really fine book that will document things over the last 40 years.
Great. So, Mr. Pfeiffer.
I'll try to use some time too for you, Mayor. This week I actually got to go on the radio for No Copay Radio, which is a segment on basically our senior and aging population, and I was able to wave our flag of what we do good in our community for our aging population. I did not use any words that would offend Mr. McGough. I warned everyone in the room, don't say that. Age in motion is what I said you're allowed to use, but it was good because I didn't get to go through everything we do, but I got to hit like the home repair. I think that was a big one. And also they were interested in when we do the CDBG grants, how we give out that money to help our senior population to nonprofits who support our community. So it was nice to highlight several ones of those. And They actually brought up Santa in the City too, which was interesting. That caught me off guard because I did not expect to speak about that. But it's a big ordeal now, and Miss Miller is the one who kind of kicked it off, and now it's a huge event. So it was a good radio. I just sent it over to Mr. Devon, the radio broadcast, so he can share it with everyone if he needs to. But it was a good opportunity to highlight our great community.
Great. Mr. Jones?
So just quickly, I think, as many know, I'm a big advocate of our police department and our officers and the things that they do day in and day out. And on Saturday, I had the opportunity to ride with one of our sergeants, and I'm always riding. I just want a flashlight. Those are just cool. But what I want to point out is we had on a couple of different calls, we obviously interacted with the Arvada Fire Department. And this morning I had breakfast with Bob Lubbers, the president of the Arvada Fire Board. And I shared with him a couple of things that a couple of the firefighters told me about their experience with Arvada PD. In a nutshell, they basically said, we'll do anything for those guys because we know they'll do anything for us. And I don't have a lot of experience with other agencies and other cities, but I've heard horror stories about what goes on in other cities with agencies. And I just want to commend our police department and our Arvada Fire Protection District, which is a special district, for the work that they do and how they collaborate and how they work together. Bob told me that he knows that when his firefighters go into an aggressive scene, he said the police department gave us all this gear and our guys are all geared up, and the police officers go in with their gun. And they've got them all surrounded, and he goes, I just know that our guys are always going to be protected no matter what when they're working with the Arvada PD. So again, to the two officers that are here with us tonight, thank you for the service that you render for the city and working so collaboratively with other first responders in the area. So thank you.
Yeah, it's been interesting, someone who's been here a long time. We didn't always have the best relations with our special districts, be it the Apex or the Fire District. And I think both through the efforts of city councils, but also the boards for those special districts, we are in a much, much better place. And it's much better for the citizens of Arvada to have that cooperative spirit. And I think people roll up their sleeves and know that by working together, we can really give a lot back to our community in a much better way. So with that, thank you all. Now I'm going to open the public hearing on Council Bill 18027, an ordinance repealing and reenacting Section 62-39, criminal mischief of Article 11, miscellaneous offenses of Chapter 62 offenses of the Arvada City Code. Mr. Devon? Oh, Rachel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Staff has identified ambiguous language in Arvada City Code Section 62-39, criminal mischief, which prohibits a person from damaging the real or personal property of another. The ordinance can be interpreted to limit the value of property that is damaged to no more than $1,000, rather than limiting the amount of damage to such property to no more than $1,000 as is intended. The ordinance should be revised to clarify the intent of the $1,000 limitation in the ordinance. Additionally, staff determined that the ordinance language should align with the equivalent state statute, which provides that criminal mischief includes damage to jointly owned property and to property in which another person has a possessory or proprietary interest. Because language in two subsections of the ordinance is to be revised, the most efficient method of doing so is to repeal and reenact the entire ordinance. Staff recommends that City Council approve Council Bill 18-027, an ordinance repealing and reenacting Section 62-39, criminal mischief of Article 2, miscellaneous offenses of Chapter 62 offenses of the Arvada City Code on final reading and published by title only.
Yeah, thank you for correcting me. It is Article 2. I was seeing, I'm doing much better without my glasses, but every once in a while, Articles II look a lot like 11. But Ms. Miller corrected me because that's one of her jobs. Is there any member of the public that would like to address City Council on this matter? I did have one individual who indicated that he or she did not wish to speak, and I believe it's Janelle Pons. who indicated that they did not wish to speak, was not taking a position, but wanted to have their name entered on the record, which will be done. With that, I will close public testimony portion, open it up for City Council questions or action. Mr. Marriott.
I don't have any questions, but I'd be happy to make a motion.
I see no questions. You may proceed.
Move that Council Bill 18-027, an ordinance repealing and reenacting Section 62-39 criminal mischief of Article 2 miscellaneous offenses of Chapter 62 offenses of the Arvada City Code be approved on final reading, numbered 4645, and ordered published by title only.
Motions for approval. All votes are cast. That passes unanimously. So with that, we had to wait a while to get to our public hearing. It was a fairly simple item. I would ask if any member of the public would like to address City Council at this time. Here's your opportunity. Yes, come on down. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Smallwood. I live at 6108 Route Court, 8 Arvada 80004. I'm sorry, I should have made this earlier. I didn't know you guys were going to be so ahead of schedule, and it just occurred to me that I'm not going to be here on the 16th, so I should say something. I just want to note that I am in favor of the affordable housing senior apartments that you'll be talking about on the 16th. I'll write you a more prepared email later, but I work with the elder community in Boulder and really value the elder community here and would hate to see them pushed out due to housing prices, so I hope you'll approve the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close that public portion of our evening. All other items have been covered. We stand adjourned.